Hello viewers and welcome to our program The Business Brief, which we hold weekly to unpack some of the complicated economic issues which are transpiring in our country. This morning we are blessed to be hosting the cotton company of Zimbabwe accounting officer Mr. Munyaradzi Chikasha. I'm your host Alois Venga. Welcome Mr. Chikasha to this program.
Thank you, Alois. Good morning, Zimbabwe.
So the first question that I'd like to pose to you is just for you to give us a brief background on what the cotton company of Zimbabwe, shortly known as Cottco, is all about.
Thank you very much. Cottco is known as a company that is into procurement and ginning or processing of seed cotton. So basically what we do is we procure seed cotton from farmers, then we process that, and the products that we get is lint and ginned seed. So there are other activities like contracting growers, but that is not our core business. But because we want the product from the farmers, then we have to contract the farmers and provide the extension services. But our core business is procurement of seed cotton and processing that seed cotton, getting products like lint and ginned seed.
Okay, so Cottco has been around for quite some time. I think even some of our viewers will agree with us that this is a company which has seen it all in the cotton sector. Recently, we just learned that you've been working on a rebranding exercise. Maybe if you could shed some light on that.
Thank you so much. Cottco is more than 50 years old, so like you rightly indicated, it's a company that has been around for quite some time. We have seen it all. And in the process, as you age, there are certain challenges that you meet along the way. And we are no exception. As Cottco, we've been faced with quite a number of challenges over the past couple of years. So much that there was beginning to be some misconception about who we are. But Cottco is a very big brand, a strong brand for that matter. So we decided that we should chart a new path. As a result, we engaged quite a number of stakeholders, various stakeholders, and more importantly, our farmers, to get an insight on the direction that we should take. So that informed the rebranding exercise that we embarked on, that we've just launched a new intent.
Okay, so what are the main issues or main features which stakeholders may expect from this rebranding?
Going forward, you should be in a position to see a changed Cottco, a Cottco that is going to focus on its stakeholders, a Cottco that is going to create value for its stakeholders. So going forward, you realize that we are going to put up some processing plants in the areas that our farmers are. Very soon we are going to go into value addition, where we are going to do oil extraction in some of these areas. So the farmers will actually benefit from this transformation.
Okay, so do you have estimates on the number of jobs that are likely to be created around these communities where your stakeholders are, especially the farmers, through this transformation journey?
Right now, like I pointed out, we haven't been into processing as such, but we hope that we are going to impact a number of lives. At the moment, we reach out to almost 400,000 farmers, meaning that we are in a position to impact up to 2 million individuals if you take a household average as 5. So directly or indirectly, such a number will also benefit from these activities that we intend to embark on. So in terms of job creation, at the moment, as Cottco at peak, we can go up to 3,000. We hope that with value addition projects, we should be in a position to create in excess of 200 more jobs, mainly for those people in the peripheral areas.
Okay, so any time frames on this transformation journey, in as far as when stakeholders can actually expect to start seeing some tangible results?
We are in the process of raising funding, and I can assure you that before the turn of the year, there should be something on the ground already. But we are in the process of mobilizing funding. We are at an advanced stage, so much that before the turn of the year, there should be something on the ground already going on.
Okay, now apart from this rebranding exercise, have there been any developments within the cotton farming sector which you'd like to share with stakeholders? I know that, most of our viewers still have those memories when cotton farming was booming across the country, and it has been going down over the past years, but hoping through that these rebranding exercises, there could be something coming on board. I think there should be some latest developments which you are willing to share with their viewers.
Sure. This country has been known to produce quite a lot of seed cotton. At some point, we were reaching up to 350,000 metric tons of seed cotton. And it's quite bad that, and quite sad that as a country, sometime we had to produce around 28,000 metric tons. So at the moment, we are between 80, 100, 120, and those are not good numbers for a country that has got potential to do up to 350,000 metric tons of seed cotton. So that is a challenge. Of course, there are a number of factors contributing towards that. So as a company, we have decided that we should rebrand. Of course, like I indicated, there are some challenges. Like over the past 2 seasons, we have had challenges with farmer payments. As you may be aware, in 2020, we couldn't pay all our farmers. And in 2021 again, we couldn't pay all our farmers. So much that we had farmers who were owed in 2020 who could only be paid in 2022. So that created a bad name for ourselves out there. And we deliberately decided that we should project ourselves in a new image, and that is the first step towards showing a new Cottco out there.
Okay, you have touched in this issue of payments where there are backlogs. Maybe we would just like to know what the state of payments to these farmers is currently.
Currently, yes. Let me start by indicating that for the 2020-2021 payments, we received the funding in full from government. Okay. More than a month ago, we got 1.4 billion that was outstanding, and farmers have since been paid, except those with account challenges. That's we are trying to address those challenges. Currently, this current season, yes, we are at 73% in terms of USD payments. Then in terms of the ZWO component, we are at 84%. So the leg is mainly to do with us accessing the funding from our funders. So it's not like we don't have the money. We secured the funding for all the seed cotton that we require for this current season. But the issue of availability of the funds is why we are sort of behind, I would say, by up to 2 weeks in terms of the payments. So I would want to assure every farmer that this season they will get their money. It's only a question of time. So we are making sure that every week we are paying farmers. Of course, we are behind, but this season every farmer is going to get their money for the seed cotton delivered. So we are 73%, but we are making sure that everyone will get paid.
Okay, that's quite interesting progress from you, from what you're saying, Mr. Chikash. But one other area which we find to be quite challenging is the issue of financing. Most farmers are struggling, not only in the agricultural sector, but it's synonymous across the economy. So are there any mechanisms in place as we approach the 2022-2023 farming season in terms of farmer finance support?
Thank you so much. As you may be aware, before the presidential input scheme, Cottco would borrow on behalf of the farmers to make sure that they get inputs. So as you are aware, most of our farmers are not bankable. So Cottco would borrow on behalf of the farmers, then they would recover and repay the banks. So since 2015, we have been running the presidential input scheme on behalf of the government. And this coming season, 2022-2023, farmers will again get inputs through the presidential input scheme. So in terms of their requirements, farmers should be rest assured that they are going to get their inputs for the coming season. So there are no challenges in the cotton sector, except that when one wants to do then more than we expect them to do. Say someone wants to go 20 hectares, then they should be able, in a position then to source their own funding. But we are saying by and large, most of the farmers will access inputs through the presidential input scheme. We have already started receiving some of the inputs, like fertilizers for the forthcoming season, like chemicals for the forthcoming season. Of course, not yet at the point where we can really say we can start disbursing inputs, but I would want to assure every farmer that they will get inputs for the forthcoming season.
Okay, so apart from the presidential input scheme, are there any other private players who are also coming in to assist the cotton growers?
Sure, there are some other private players. At the moment, there are 5 merchants into cotton, and we are one of them. So the other 4, they are privately financing growers. So they bring their own inputs. So that would actually help to improve production and productivity out there. So there are other players, yes.
Okay, so do you have any numbers to share in terms of the growers who will be targeted under the presidential input scheme, as well as those who are also to be targeted by the private financiers?
I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the private funders or financiers, so to speak. But for Cottco, we're targeting a total of 400,000 growers. We have in the past managed to get up to 386,000. So there is potential for us to get to 400,000 growers. Of course, this past season, we only managed to register up to 295,000 growers. Why? We had challenges over the past 2 seasons in terms of payments. So ordinarily, you would expect some to drop out. So I think with the payment methods that we had this season, and considering that every farmer will be paid before we start inputs disbursement, I can see there is some positive vibes out there. We expect a number of growers to come on board. So 400,000 should be quite an easy number for us to reach. Otherwise, we may end up being oversubscribed.
Okay, so as we round off the program, Mr. Chikasha, what would be your last words to cotton growers and other stakeholders out there?
Thank you so much. There are quite a number of challenges in the cotton sector, one of which is the planting material, the planting seed. Okay. As you are aware, we have a seed that has been out since 2006. Of course, there are efforts to get some new seed. I understand there are some new varieties coming out there, but not yet available to growers. Okay. We have been, as a country, mainly concentrating on the open pollinated varieties, most of which varieties are quite long season varieties, needing up to 4 months in the fields. And with climate change, mind you, climate change is real. We barely getting rains up to 3 months, maybe 2 months per season. So we need ultra quick varieties to make sure that our farmers at the end of the season get something. So for varieties that would take you up to 4 months in the field, it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge. So I think as a country, we should be focusing on those varieties which are quite short season, but still high yielding. So farmers' yields have been hovering around 300, 400 kgs per hectare. And if we are to return back to the credit scheme, most farmers are not viable, to be honest. Okay. So they will drop from cotton production. So it is important that we come up with varieties that make them viable, varieties that give them higher yields and therefore more income. So this is the direction that we should be taking as a country. This is the focus that we should have. Also, we should make sure that even with the PIS, we should be timelessly distributing the inputs. Farming is about time. So we should be timelessly distributing the inputs and also make sure that the inputs are adequate for the farmers. But it's quite interesting. I may need to inform you that we, as Cottco, we started some 2-3 seasons ago. In light of the climate change, we have started on a tillage program to try and climate-proof cotton production. So this is one area which I also feel should be upscaled. Because at the moment, we like this season, we're only targeting 46,500 hectares for tillage. So out of 400,000, that's a small number. So we end up selecting very few areas out of all the cotton growing areas. So we need to upscale the tillage program. I've always argued with quite a number of people that cotton is a deep-rooted crop. So if we are to borrow the conservation agriculture concept, commonly referred to as the Pfumvudza concept here, if we are to borrow the same aspects as in maize and then expect to replicate that in cotton production, we won't get the desired results. And your cotton is deep-rooted. So we think we need to mechanize our CA, our conservation agriculture in cotton, so that we can come up with ribbed lines. Then maybe we open planting furrows along the ribbed lines. So it becomes sort of a hybrid somehow. So those are the areas that we need to be looking at in terms of making sure that we climate-proof our cotton production.
Okay, quite interesting commitments on the way forward there by Mr. Munyaradzi Chikasha, whom we were hosting on our program Business Brief, which has come to an end. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Munyaradzi Chikasha.
Thank you, Alois.
Well, viewers, for these and other programs, please do not hesitate to visit our website, www.newzimbabwe.com, our online TV channel on YouTube, newzimbabwe.com, and our Facebook page, which is newzimbabwe.com. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your viewing. Thank you.